Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So today we're talking about Rekkles once again. He is definitely one of the biggest pieces of this whole offseason. You know, he's right up there with a lot of other different players. I think each of the G2 players in their own right is kind of interesting, and any player that's coming to G2 is going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, the Bjergsen story is a very, very interesting and exciting one, but, you know, all signs are kind of pointing to Bjergsen returning to TSM at this point. There is some other potential big moves, you know, Blabber, TL's AD carry, all over the place, but Rekkles, and whether he stays or goes, and wherever he goes, it's going to be one of the biggest stories. And I know so far we've talked a lot about him potentially staying at G2, him potentially going to TSM, him maybe going to China, but there's also some EU options as well. And today in this video, I wanted to show some tweets that I think have flown under the radar a little bit. Maybe they're jokes, maybe they're memes, probably they're even jokes or memes, but it at least throws another team's hat in the ring and kind of solidifies maybe another team, another rumor, another name that people have been throwing around. So I think this will be a pretty interesting conversation and discussion to have. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Subscribe to Tip Today and all my latest content. We're really trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be absolutely awesome. And consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/IamGerm, where I post weekly podcast episodes. I'm thinking about in the future maybe even uploading my videos sooner to the Patreon, because I record the night before the videos go live the next day. So theoretically I could just upload those videos straight to Patreon and then still have them come out the next day on YouTube. So maybe the Patreon could get videos like 12 hours early. I don't know. That might be an interesting idea. I'm thinking about it, but we'll see. With that being said, here we go, getting right into this one. So some of the tweets I wanted to talk about, something I think is flying under the radar. We have this conversation here. Spunj, I guess he's someone in the CSGO world. I don't really know who he is. He's got a check mark. His bio says once upon a time he played CSGO professionally. I'm just reading that for the first time now. So apparently he's a former CSGO pro. He had a dream, Nico back to FaZe with Rops, Kerrigan, Twist, Brokey, Rops, and Nico. I'm assuming some of those are G2 CSGO players. So Carlos said LMAO. He said, or you buy ZywOo. ZywOo is a very, very famous CSGO player, I guess on Vitality. I know he's a big name. I haven't followed CSGO in the last couple of years, so I don't know what team he's on at this point, but he must be on Vitality. Because then Carlos tweets at ZywOo, like, yeah, you know, I'd love to have him, whatever. And then this is where the interesting stuff starts. Vitality Neo. This guy is the owner and head of Team Vitality. I haven't really, you know, I didn't really know who this guy was. I haven't really heard his name before. You know, I follow the scene very, very close for the past year. I guess I probably should know who this guy is, but I've never really seen him on social medias. I don't even follow him, I don't believe. I've never really seen him, you know, getting involved in a bunch of Twitter drama or anything like that. But he replies to this thread. You know, he tweets at Carlos and says, at Rekkles LOL. You know, Carlos is saying, oh, let me buy out ZywOo. You know, obviously as a joke, just kind of memeing, going along with this thread. But maybe Vitality, you know, is actually interested in Rekkles. Maybe they're actually, you know, memeing back, joking back. But in every joke, there is a little bit of truth. You know, this is coming from somewhere. And we wouldn't be surprised at all if Vitality is actually interested in Rekkles. And it is one of the main names that's been thrown around as one of the potential EU teams, because we know Vitality has some money to throw around. We know they have some pretty big backers, especially for Europe. You know, Europe as a whole has a lot less money than North America, has a lot less money and financial backing than China. So Vitality is one of these bigger teams. They keep saying, oh, we're going to build a super team. We're going to build a super team. We're going to build a super team. And now G2 has all of these great players that could theoretically fit into a super team available. You know, you start putting one and one together, and we get to the point where Vitality being interested in Rekkles would not be at all surprising. Now, one thing that kind of throws a wrench in this whole thing is how much money exactly does Vitality have? Just because they are rich for a European organization, you know, we talked about the rumors the other day that the Rekkles buyout, from what people are saying, could be as high as 8 figures. Now, that might just be the asking price that Carlos is asking. I heard anywhere between 10 and 13 million, you know, as the total package for Rekkles at the end of the day. And again, just because Vitality's rich, I've heard some people question whether they think Vitality could actually afford that number. And I don't know if that's they could afford it, or if they would want to afford it, or if there's any way they would pay that much, or again, if they even could pay that much. At the end of the day, we don't really know how big these teams, you know, budgets are. Those things are not public, unless, you know, some of that information comes out or whatever. But there is a world, some world where Rekkles and Vitality could pair up. And I know there has been people throwing around that name a ton. So this was actually interesting to get, the owner and head of Vitality himself actually tweeting at Rekkles. It's just funny when we talk about all this, poaching and all these different things and accusations going around. And then we actually have two owners just directly tweeting at players on other teams, that they're potentially interested in, which is funny. And then the other big tweet we got out of this was Carlos replying with Labrov. Now, is that Carlos memeing back? Is that Carlos joking back? Is that Carlos knowing that there's rumors going around that he was interested in Labrov, or that, Labrov could potentially be moving to G2, or that G2 could potentially want Labrov? Or is this Carlos actually being interested in Labrov and just, he's saying, oh, you want Rekkles? Well, give us Labrov. And is there some world where, say Vitality can't afford that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, however many 8-figure million buyout, could they also throw in Labrov and get that money, the overall price tag to come down a little bit? Like, hey, we won't give you 12 million, but, maybe we'll give you, or we can't give you 10 million, maybe we'll give you 9 million in Labrov, or 8 million in Labrov, or 7, 6 million and throw in Labrov, whatever. Because again, just because G2's asking for 10, 12, however many million, doesn't mean that's what they're going to be able to get. So if Vitality has a player that G2 wants, and G2 could potentially be interested in getting rid of Rekkles, this could be something that works out. Maybe it could be some kind of trade. Maybe there should be some kind of money involved. Maybe this is something they could work out. But overall, I thought this was pretty interesting, and I thought this flew under the radar a little bit. Each of these tweets only has 400 likes. Now, Carlos here, he has a ton of Twitter followers, 500,000 followers. And, there's people talking about on Reddit and Twitter and stuff every time he tweets, every time he has a meme, every time, he's tweeting about the offseason or whatever. And the fact that he literally he's tweeting about Rekkles and tweeting at Labrov and all this stuff. We saw Wooloo saw it and Frosty saw it and all these guys saw it. Selfmade, gets in there as well. He said, can you remember the pancakes we ate together? So obviously Selfmade is memeing and stuff, but Carlos didn't really play into the Selfmade memes. He wasn't really joking around that much. He could have continued to play into that, but he did say Labrov. Neo and Vitality did say Rekkles. Is this something that actually could be going down? Again, so much of this rides on not only what is G2 going to get in return for Rekkles, but what AD carry are they going to get to replace Rekkles at the end of the day? Now, there is a ton of rumors going around. I know more and more people have been saying that G2 should maybe go after Patrick. I believe Patrick is a free agent, so, maybe that could work out. I know Crownshot is going to be a free agent as well. I know there's a lot of people that expect Rogue to not do that good at this Worlds, and maybe Rogue decides to make some changes, or maybe some Rogue players decide that they're not interested in sticking around for 2022, and maybe Hans Sama comes on the market. There is still some possibilities and options left for G2. I think they do want to wait for Worlds to play out, though, because depending on how Worlds goes, it could affect Hans Sama, it could affect Karzi. But G2 is not just going to sell off Rekkles for whatever price tag or whatever package or whatever if they don't actually have a decent AD carry to replace him. Now, maybe they're interested in Flaked for Mad Lions, and maybe they'd be willing to start him next year. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really know what Carlos's full plan here is, but just know we've been talking about G2 Rekkles, we've been talking about NiP Rekkles, we've been talking about TSM Rekkles, but Vitality Rekkles seems like it's at least some percentage chance possibility of happening, and I think maybe, maybe some more people should be talking about that. Maybe some more people should be considering that. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about Vitality Rekkles? Do you think that'd be a good idea, bad idea? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope we catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.